Well, here we are. It is Friday, September 29th, 2023. And this, of course, is the weekly video. We do these every Friday. We take a look at what's going on in the auction markets around the world, what's coming up in auctions, live auctioneers, invaluable, and so forth, and what's happened at eBay, what's coming up on eBay, and tell you what's happening. And before we get started into it too much today, I want to mention a couple of changes that we've made that I think those of you that use the global member pages or those of you that are using Patreon will like some of the things we're doing because we shut down the Bitamount Live site and it's given us a lot more time technically to fool around and fix things that we've been wanting to fix because all of it is very time consuming, but we got it done. And a couple of things I want to mention right off the bat is one, if you use the global member pages on the site, the one thing you're going to find now is that we are able to upload the weekly videos and the auction review videos and all the videos that we do that are on the YouTube channel can now be watched on the global member pages ad-free. We figured out there was a hitch in doing this, and that's why we haven't done many, and it had to do with servers and all kinds of technical crud I don't want to get into. But anyway, it's fixed. And as you can see, this is the video we just released this morning on the Asia Week results in New York at Christie's and Sotheby's. Seems to be working fine, so there we go. All right, so if you're a global member user, every Friday when you get the notice, go to your account and you can watch the video uninterrupted without ads. Which I think is a pretty great thing. If you're not paying for we pay for YouTube here, so we don't have to watch any ads ever. But it's $14 a month to get that privilege. But for us, it's worth it because we use the channel a great deal. But at any rate, our videos each week now will be on the global member page on the home page when you log in right there. For you to watch. And the other thing I wanted to mention was over on the Patreon page, we are doing the same thing. You can watch videos there each week ad-free. And we've added some sections. I didn't know this was in there, but they have a collections area where you can post things and odds and ends and bits of what's come along. And so we've set up several categories. One of them is catalogs and books. And these are not catalogs and books that are on the regular, on the Bitamount site, all those auction catalogs. These are auction catalogs and show catalogs and books and things that are on other systems that we can't import, that they don't allow us to import, but we worked a way to link them. So it's pretty great. And for example, this week, if you come over to if you're a Patreon member, you can come over and in the catalogs, you're going to find a whole bunch of books that we found online from the Mayuyama company. And those of you who don't know about Mayuyama, they are one of the great Asian art dealers in the world and one of the oldest Asian art dealers in the world. And they do highly specialized auctions. They specialize in early stuff up through the Ming Dynasty. And over the years, they've done a bunch of catalogs on Jiajing and Wanli wares and so forth. And if you click it, it brings you over to here. And then you can flip through. And the reason I'm very excited about this is that their illustrations, their images are exceptional. And you can see some absolutely great things. They show the bottoms of things. They have all kinds of information, and they handle some of the finest things you can imagine. And down here in the lower right, if you want to blow something up, you just pull it in, and there it is. All right. And this was a piece that was handled by Blewitz that ended up at Mayuyama, and it's a very fine company. And if you have the chance to buy anything from them, it means you're on track to build one heck of an important collection. At any rate, this is all the major museums, institutions, collectors around the world know Mayuyama. I think the company's been there for like 140 years or something, very, very long time. And as you can see, they handle great things. So we started this new section on the site by including a bunch of their catalogs, Sung ceramics, Wanli wares, and so forth. And each week we're going to check around and see what else is available. The other thing that we did was, let's close this one up for a second. There's a section in there where we're going to put little posts and things of auction results, what's sold, and so forth. So that's two ways you can now watch our weekly videos without paying or without having if you're paying without having to sit through endless YouTube ads. Because I know they're a nuisance. So if it's worth it to you, go ahead. You have two places to go do it, and we're going to try to keep up with this as best we can. I think we can. We've got the time now, so there we go. All right, now over to the global pages. A couple of reminders for those of you that subscribe, because a lot of you do. There's some sales coming up, and these are just sort of reminders. There's a couple of new things. Remember the Robert Kime sale. That we did the video on a few weeks ago. This is the sale over in the UK that has all these great. There's several parts of the sale, and they have some great things. And it's going to be starting in just a few days on October 5th. So in the next 5 days, this sale is going to begin. And as a refresher, this was the sale that had lots these are big jars. These are Ming jars. They're 48 centimeters tall, 1 lead period, and you can buy 3 of them at a whack. All right. Typically, these jars, as I mentioned before, sell for 3,000 or 4,000, maybe 5,000 each. And here they have them in groups, so it'll give you some idea of what this lot should bring. Anything out of that's a buy. Wanley punch ball, about just about 15, 16 inches in diameter, and also these great carpets. I realize these are pretty expensive. This rug is estimated at 28,000 pounds, and I'm going to bet it goes way over that. But very rare carpets and textiles. If you're a carpet buff, I heard from somebody this week who's a carpet fan out there that wanted me to know about a sale that Peter Papp was having that was advertised in Holly magazine, and some other people have get in touch with about rugs occasionally with me, and this is a very good sale with some really good rugs. And here you have this really fine small pattern Holbein carpet, very rare 16th century rugs. They rarely come onto the market, so there's something to look at. And then you have more Ming Dynasty jars and so forth. And this is all in the Robert Kime sale. It's a 3-day sale. Great stuff. The other thing I wanted to mention was that just posted to the global pages is this, again, one of these very unusual but very attractive export wares for the Middle Eastern market, early 19th century. There it is. This one's in pretty good shape. I think they overlit it a little bit, but it looks pretty good. And you'll find that on the U.S. pages. It's at Topwell's. And then there's this came up. This has just been added as well. This is a sale down in down in New Orleans. Is a really fine Chinese export watercolor. They just date it to the 18th century, but it was actually probably made around 1800, painted around 1800 to 1810. But it's the porcelain production. It's one of the porcelain production paintings. And those of you that like Chinese porcelain, and most of you do, here's a chance to buy an early China trade painting gouache that was done depicting it. And here they are lined up, decorating the bowls, carrying bowls, and so forth. Very nice scene, all framed, ready to go. And the opening bid on it is just $20. The sale is in about almost is in 2.5 weeks from now. This is a big watercolor, though. It's the site size of this picture is rather astounding. It's 15 by 20. This is about as big as they ever made them. That's a big watercolor. And with the frame, it's 21 by 26. So that's a good sized picture. A couple of feet wide, 2 feet wide. So if you've been looking for one of these, I think you have a shot at it down here, because they don't seem to be, I don't know, they just don't seem to think much of it with that starting price and all that other stuff. So maybe they're going hog wild on having very low opening bids or something. But this is a really nice picture, and it should be worth $600 or $800 pretty easily, but we'll see. So if you can pick it up for less than that, bravo. The other thing I came across was this. Those of you that are familiar with pewter and Yixing ware, they use Yixing liners in them. This is a Yixing cup or a measure with a jade handle, and it has an enameled Yixing liner in it. And the liner looks like it's in pretty good shape. This just came up. This will be at a rarity auctions in Lorton, Virginia. That's something worth looking into. And remember the Niue sale. This is the housing collection. I mentioned it last week. It's coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day. This is just a reminder for those of you that are Japanese collectors. This is the mother load. Lots of Nabashima stuff, lots of Arita stuff, Hirado wares, Okimono, silver, paintings, prints, all kinds of great stuff, as you can see. And I talked about it at some length last week. I know many of you are looking at this auction, will be participating, and good luck with it. Good luck with it. An auction house called me. I'm not going to say who, but an auction house called me the other day, and I guess a number of you had attended his auction or bid on it and so forth. And he said that a number of people said that how he heard about the sale was through us. So if you're buying something at an auction for the fun of it, if they ask you how you heard about the auction or it comes up, tell them you heard about it here, and that's how you're finding them. Because one auction house was stunned because they got a whole bunch of phone calls all at once on a Saturday morning after the Friday video, and they didn't know what was happening. So tell them how you learned about their sale, so they're not sort of confused. You don't want to confuse the auctioneers. All right, now over to this. This is a sale that's coming up. Let's close this down a little bit. That'll go. There we go. This is Alex Cooper's sale, and this is also coming up tomorrow. And this is in this sale you'll find a very nice lot of Ming wares, 5 pieces, two Hongxi period plates over there, a Wanli one, and a couple of late Ming jars, estimated at $600 to $800. So do check that out. All right, now what else? Oh yes, and this is I'm trying to make sure we get this sale figured in. This is also Alex Cooper's sale. Oh, right, because there's a lot of armorial wares in it. There's some really good armorial porcelain in that sale. So if you've forgotten about it, that's it. It's Alex Cooper tomorrow. And there's a lot of stuff going on right now. This is one of the plates, a Dutch armorial saucer. I thought this thing was amazing. It was one of the most complicatedly decorated export pieces I've seen in a while. Very elaborate. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of the stuff was bought from Cohen and Cohen, and the famous London dealer. So it's all going to be really, really good. All right, and then this was something that sold at Doyle's just last week, and I wanted to mention it. It was a really nice export charger. This is not a dish. Usually you see this pattern in a pretty small dish. This was almost 14 inches in diameter. It looked to be a very nice example, beautifully done. With this lobed sort of lotus interior with these figural scenes of people sitting at bamboo tables and whatnot. This is a beautiful plate with underglazed blue on top of it on the border. All right, and let's see here. Close that up. It sold for $3,000 with a $700 to $900 estimate. And I'd heard from a number of you through the auction preview assistant on the site about this particular plate. I don't know if one of you got it or not. Every one of you that wrote me said, boy, that estimate looks awfully low. And I agreed. I agreed completely in all my replies. I said, expect it to bring, I think I said $2,500 to $4,000, somewhere in that range. And it ended up selling for $3,000 plus the premium. So it got right up there, about $4,000 by the time it was done. Very rare example and in beautiful condition. It was a good auction. And also this was the opposite direction, a memorial mistake plate. And it decorated in boldly colored arms, center, and so forth and so forth. And what it was it had some decorative errors that were made. This was sold by Cohen and Cohen. I happen to know. There's the label. And it was estimated at $2,000 to $3,000, but it didn't get there. It only brought $1,000, but it did sell, which tells you that when you're dealing with Doyle's, you don't always know where the reserve is, because usually the reserve is right under the low estimate in many auction houses. Doyle doesn't do that. They tend to do their best to get the reserves down, and somebody got a great buy on this. That was a nice piece of memorial ware. All right, and then there's this sale just peeled up. This is NATO's. This will be on the global pages by tomorrow. There's a sale coming, and one of the things I noticed in it was there's some very good export wares, But there's also this, a really nice pair. I don't like the frames very much. I think they're a bit gaudy, but you can fix that. I think these look much nicer in black rather than this goldish color. I'm not sure why they did that. They seem to distract. But at any rate, nice 19th century reverse paintings on glass. These are really nice ones. They're good size. The estimate on them, I think, is very low, of $500 to $1,000 for these. And they came from they came from the property from the private collection that was designed by Cullman and Kravis, which was a big interior decorating firm. They may still be around. Maybe one of you know. Leave a comment if they're still around. I didn't know if they're still around, but these are very, very nice. They're 14 by 18 inches. I think they would look wonderful, and this style of watercolor in particular is very attractive. So if you like Chinese watercolors, these are quite elegant. That's a reflection, by the way. There's some reflections in the photograph, so don't let it confuse you. And they look like they're in quite good condition. And that's the what is it, the Whampoa Pagoda coming up there over there in the distance. And then you have this inner harbor scene or upriver scene of fishing boats and so forth. I really like these. I guess I just hate the frames. I don't know. But at any rate, but you don't need to throw the frames away. I would just have them painted matte black or yeah. Don't use a gloss paint. Don't never use gloss paint on a picture frame. It rarely works out. But a matte black would be fine. Pop the glass out, paint them, put them back. Just clean them up a little before you paint them. That's all. All right, now over to eBay. What happened on eBay last week? There was quite a bit, and there's quite a bit coming up this week. So stick around for this. Let's take a look here. There was the nifty little pillow that I liked so much a couple of weeks ago. We talked about it when I went up. I just thought the decoration was quite charming. I liked the scene of the people. The two ladies seated together and the ladies on the other side with the kids. There's the bottom of it. This was a nice little pillow. And no, they didn't really sleep with these under their heads. It's sort of a decorative idea. Some of the old porcelain pillows they did use, but they were only used not really for solid sleeping, but for sort of showing off, I think. I can't imagine anybody trying to get through a night with this under your neck. But at any rate, they call them pillows. And it sold for $790. It was a nice one. It was a nice one. And then over to this, the little cafe ground late 19th century underglazed blue vase. This is just a nice vase. You see these fairly often. This one was rather attractive, I thought. The bottom hadn't been drilled out, and it had a little chin lung mark on the bottom, which of course is inaccurate. What was interesting about this was that it had this double groove foot. That grooved foot that they started putting these on porcelains during the Kangxi period, and this is one that was done in the late 19th century. And I don't know as I've ever seen this style of vase with that double groove bottom before. It's sort of an unusual feature that I found curious. So if any of you have examples like that, let me know with that grooved foot. Because that groove foot is used in a lot of fakes and modern copies today. They brought it back with a vengeance, especially when they're doing reproductions of Femi Vare wares and Kangxi wares of assorted types. But this one is perfectly legit. This is not a modern thing. This is a late 19th century piece. I don't even think it's early 20th century. I think it was done around 1870. But it's a nice thing. Somebody picked it up for $247, which was a pretty good deal. And the shipping on it certainly was reasonable. All right, and how tall was this? It was like 8 inches or something, 7 3/4 inches. And then this jar, the big blue jar with all the very nice details in it. I think this was an excellent buy. I think somebody got a good buy on it. The shipping was a little bit expensive, but not horrifying. It was coming from the UK to here. They claimed they could ship it for $76, which isn't bad. This was a nice vase. Nice decoration, good cobalt ground, gilding still intact, and most of it had that sort of scalloped out rim at the top, and it was good size. It was what was it, 20 or 18 inches or something like that? Where's the dimensions? Do, 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 do. This is why people should always, I think it was about 18 inches in height. Well, but this is a reminder when you're doing your eBay listings, set out separately height and condition so that it's easy to spot. You don't want people them to go searching for it. I don't even see it on here, so maybe they just did it with the ruler in the picture, which is a very lazy way to add dimensions. Do not stick rulers and pictures to your listings and then hoping people will find it because they get frustrated by the time they realize it's in a ruler. Put it right in the listing itself. Anyway, that was a nice vase, and it sold for 1,305 US. That was a good buy. That was a very nice buy for that vase, I think. Good looking. And then there was this, the hot water plate. This was from the seller down in, I think it was in Marblehead, right? Room Tonic, yeah, Room Tonic had this this nice hot water Mandarin plate, good decoration in the middle. I like the blue, that blue green at the bottom was still nice and vibrant. It looked like it was in very nice condition all the way around. Uh, Really good example, and made probably around 1840, 10 inches in diameter. It went for $510. All right, and then this was one of the little bargains of the week. I don't know who got this. Is there something wrong with this? Um, I'm gonna take another look at this. It only went for $60. And this is an early 18th or early 19th century tea caddy. I don't see anything wrong with it. Is there anything? Oh, it's got a little break on one end. No, no. Oh, it has a chip on the end. That's why it went for that. Okay. Never mind. I thought it would slip through the cracks because this should have brought about 180 to $200. Went for $60. But nonetheless, it's a nice little late 18th, early 19th century blue and white export tea caddy, and that's actually a pretty simple fix right there. A little ceramic shop could repair that pretty cheaply, probably $100 to get it back in good shape. Anyway, it went for only $60. So that wasn't a bad buy. All right, and then that little jade that was being sold by Stubbsy Wubsy here. It's a late Ching example, but he's kind of charming. I liked him. He's got the bag over his shoulder, some nice looking cuts, not a lot of polishing, but a perfectly good little jade, and it went for $500. This same jade, incidentally, if it was really finely polished and incredibly tightly worked, would be worth about 4 or 5,000. There's a big leap in that, and there is a rumor going around that it's been known to happen that people will go around and buy these up and ship them back to Hong Kong and other places in that region of the world, and they will repolish these. And when they're done polishing them, they look like 18th century jades. So you want to be a little careful about that when you're buying these. But this one hasn't been done to it, but it's been known to happen, as they say. It's been known to happen. All right, and then the 100 Boys jars. This is a group of them. I thought this was fun. It's a bunch of them. They all have Kangxi marks on the bottom. These are all late 19th, early 20th century jars. They call these snuff bottles. I'm not sure they're snuff bottles. How big are they? 19th century Kangxi marks. And again, no dimensions. I don't understand it. If you put something online, put in the dimensions and put in the condition. This is a seller Domo teas or something. Um, you're supposed to figure it out from this grid that they've got laying on. I don't know. Typically, these jars are about 4 inches, 5 inches tall, so they're not really stuff bottles. They're just small bottles. But at any rate, it doesn't matter. I'm just quibbling and grousing here. $945 for the four of them. That isn't bad considering it's a group. And they're good looking. They're fun to work with, fun to display in your house, and all that good stuff. And then lastly, this official's rank badge, probably a fifth or sixth rank. It looks like I didn't get the rank badge book out. I should before I talked about this. But anyway, it went for $810. Nice late 19th, early 20th century, possibly early Republic period example. But rank badges, as we've all seen, do very well. The only thing I noticed was that they had a bunch of silks, very nice silks at the Christie sale, I think it was, or Sotheby's, one of them, and some of them sold really well. They did great, and others didn't, and I couldn't understand why. So maybe there's either the market's getting more sensitive over there on silks, on early silks, or there was something else going on. I'm not sure what it was because some of them should have sold, I think. All right. Over there now. Let's see what's coming up. There's some nice things coming up this week. This is going to be in this week's newsletter page. If you haven't done it yet, so those of you that don't know about the newsletter page, it's over here. It's on the. You go to the homepage at bitamount.com and you click that button. It brings you over here. And every Friday we upload and put things on there that we've picked out. Somebody asked me, how do we select these, or do we just grab a bunch of items and throw them on here from eBay? No, we don't. We don't do that because right now there's upwards of 1 million items listed in the Asian art category on eBay, and 99.9% of them aren't worth buying because they're all copies and fakes. These are things we've actually looked at and gone through and decided they are of they're of the age as they are represented. We do not include on here pieces that if it's a really nice early 19th century vase and they've got it listed as Kangxi, we tend not to put them on here because it's not Kangxi. They've got the date wrong. So be careful with your dating when you put titles on things. You have to be pretty close for us to use them, but then we'll put them on here. And these are all the items from last week. A lot of them are still active. A lot of these mugs at the bottom are all still active, and they close in the coming next couple of days. And if you don't get the newsletter emailed to you every Friday, you click this here, put your email address in, use any name you want, just as long as the email address is right, and we'll send you a notice every Friday when it comes along. And occasionally we send out other notices during the year for other things, but very rarely, maybe 4 times in the entire year. So you're not going to, if you're on our mailing list, people will tell you, if you're on our mailing list, you don't get swamped with constant emails because that annoys me to no end. You sign up for something, you expect to hear from them once a month, and suddenly you're getting 2 emails a day from them. Really dumb. But anyway, this is up here, this Wanli dish. This is a really nice one. I like it because the color is so dark. It's got a beautiful deep cobalt blue, and it's quite well finished, quite well done all the way around. And the back of it looks pretty good too. It's not caked with mountains of kiln grit. It's got a pretty clean back on it. It looks absolutely fine for late Ming, Wanli period, but it's not one of these more crude examples like you see some of the Swato pieces of the Wanli pieces that have they look like salmon eggs or fish roe. There's so many bits of kiln grit on there. This one's pretty clean, and it's a very nice plate. It's a very, very nice plate, and it's about 13 inches in diameter, as I recall. Um, 32 centimeters. Yeah, so it's about 13 inches in diameter. It's technically a charger. Nice example. And right now the bidding is nowhere on it. But it's got excuse me. It's got a few days to go. It closes. No, it ends in 17 hours, and it's got one bid of $12. All right, I don't know how anybody missed this. Plate looks absolutely fine to me. I'm completely mystified. Leave a bid on this thing. My God, it should bring a few hundred. All right, should bring 300 or 400. And then this clobbered 18th century teapot. It's got some clobbering on it. Some added clobbering is just a decoration that was added. Mark Wahlberg Fine Art in Villanova or Sunbury rather, not Villanova. Sunbury, Pennsylvania is selling this. It's a nice pot, nice 18th century pot. And when it got to Holland or wherever it was going, they did some over decoration on it with this red with this building along the balustrade. Is all the underglazed blue was done in China, and then all the enamels were added in Europe. So it's sort of a nifty piece. It's up to $102. It's only got 2 bids, and it closes tomorrow. All right, and that'll be on the newsletter page. And then a mixed metal Chinese bronze incense burner. This is a 19th century example, but it's nicely done. It's probably done in about the mid-19th, second half of the 19th century. It does not appear to be a Japanese one pretending to be Chinese. Certainly looks Chinese all the way through. Not bad. It's up to $805. It ends on Sunday, and it should bring a bit more. It should go probably to about 1,200 or so. It's very big. It's 42 centimeters tall on stand, which means it's about 17 inches tall. So this is a big incense burner. It's a little deceiving because it looks like it's about 6 or 8 inches tall. This is a big one. That's a big burner. Make up a good corner of a room in your home. Nice looking thing, and it's coming from the UK. Shipping is reasonable from the UK to here and outside of Boston, 74.50. That's not bad. And then this, when I first saw this, I was a little concerned about it because they're making copies of these. This just looks like a late Qing to Republic example. Um, I looked at the pictures pretty carefully and the enameling and so forth. And this is a well-known pattern. They did lots of these, or not lots of them, but they turn up often enough. But this one is a rather robustly done pot, and it's a big one, 10 inches wide. All right, this is a big bowl. This is not if you've seen this pattern before, you typically see it on a smaller one, more the size of a rice bowl, 5 inches in diameter, 5.5 inches in diameter, with the same cover, same form, same shape, same everything, but 5 or 6 inches. This one is 10 inches, over 10 inches wide. It closes on Sunday. It's only up to $157. It's probably late Qing to Republic, but I looked at some of the pictures up close, and this looks good. That's very typical of late Qing and Republic Qinlong marks. And the foot rim looks okay. The enameling under the lid looks good, and they provided some nice detail shots of the edges so you can really see in there. And you'll see here there's some good looking wear, and again you see this yellow. And one of the things we talked about last week in these videos, when they did yellow bodies, you often see it go light to dark with little irregularities. You do want to see those. If you don't see them and it's perfectly even all the way around, be skeptical. And there you have this. This all looks fine. That's not fake dirt that's been put on there. That was actually originally decoration in there. But this all looks fine to me as a late Qing example, early Republic. It should bring $1,000. And right now it's at 157. So that's a nice bowl. It's very pretty too, I must say. Who's the seller of this thing? Night Heron Antiques. I'm getting used to the new layout here. We're seeing a whole new layout on eBay, how they're displaying, by the way. Maybe you haven't seen it yet. But the seller's other items is now up here and not at the bottom of the listing. They've jostled the thing around, so I'm not quite sure what they're doing. But eBay is always messing with the site. Also, there's going to be some Korean wares. These are some nice inlaid Goryeo period Korean celadons. These are fairly common types, but they're well known. People like to collect them. And this one has some Kiln Grit and Grunge on the bottom. And I think that this guy has, this is, who's the seller? This is Night Heron. I think he's got 5 or 6 Korean pieces, and they'll all be on the newsletter page. All right. And then this is a nice piece of Kutani. If you like Kutani, if you're a Kutani buyer, and I know there are about 50 of you out there because I hear from you, because I like this stuff too. It's a nice Kutani dragon dish, 3-clawed dragon all the way around. It's sand on the back. I don't agree with the dating on this one. I think it's probably a 19th century one, but those of you who buy Kutani know that, so it'll be pretty obvious. But that's a Meiji period Kutani mark, but it's a nice looking dish. And I love the lack of a border, just a dragon in the middle. Very, very attractive. And it's 10 inches in diameter, so it's good size. A nice looking piece of porcelain. All right. And then this big silk hanging. They called it a piano shawl. It probably might have been made for that. It's a second half of the 19th century example. Beautiful quality silk. And the seller here who listed it, did a good job with the photography. And then you see all the little, this is all blind stitching in this. This is a wonderful piece of big silk. If you have some place to hang it or put it, if you got a grand piano, you want to toss it over. Do they give the dimensions? It's going to be in, I hope they didn't do it in millimeters. No dimensions. What is going on in this world? What is it that hard to measure something? No dimensions. You get a sense of how big it is, though. There it is in a room, and you have to scale it. But tell the seller it'd be a really good idea to put the dimensions on this. It looks like it's about 5 by 5 feet, though. It's a big shawl, but they should always include dimensions. Size is important. But this looks like it's in excellent condition. Should bring $1,500, I think. It's a nice looking thing. And then lastly is one of the big surprises of the week. Is this. This is a superb Republic period sleeve base, and it's big. It's 19 inches tall. This is a big one. Most of them that you see in this style are 8 to 10, 12 inches. This is a 19-inch one. Chin lung mark, of course, on the bottom, like they often have. But this is a really finely done example. Closes Tuesday. It's already up to $1,000. But if you take a look at this and you look at the drawing on it, the draftsmanship on this, absolutely wonderful. It's late Republic, but boy, is this thing well decorated. It's a beast, and it's 19 inches tall. So expected to bring 3 to 5,000, but a nice looking thing. If you've been looking for a great piece of Republic wear, with this classic bead decoration business at the top, you see that often on this pattern. Sometimes you see it in black, sometimes you see it all in red and so forth. But this looks awfully good. This looks awfully good. So you might want to chase that down, leave a bid on it right away. All right, and remember, leave bids. We're seeing increasingly people email me now and they say, "Oh, I was going to buy that, but I didn't leave a bid." It's very simple to do. Just leave a bid on it. It's how I buy things all the time. And just leave a bid on something. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But at least you jumped in the game and you had time to think about it. And if it's something you really want, do not put things on watch lists. It's too easy to forget. It's too easy to forget. And those of you who've been buying for any length of time know that. So when you see something you like, put it on the watch list so it's on there, and then leave a bid on it. All right, that's the way to do it. If you leave a bid on it, you can't add it to your watch list. But if you put it on your watch list first and then leave a bid, you're in good shape. And I'm assuming that's the way it's always been on eBay anyway. So do check that out. But this is a nice piece of Republican wear. All right, and that's about it. All right, so that's it for the week. There's quite a bit going on, and thank you to the Patreon subscribers and to our global member users. You does really it helps pay for servers and do the things that we're doing, and do remember that you can now see the weekly videos and the post auction reviews and the preview videos and all the videos you see here on YouTube. You can now watch them if you're a paid subscriber to either of the services we offer, completely ad-free and so forth. And the Patreon page will now have little extra blogs and posts and notes added to it as the week goes along, or if I come across something I see that looks interesting, I'll pop it up there. All right, that's it. Have a great week. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the fall. Fall is here. We got a lot done in New Hampshire last week. We had a new roof put on the house up there a year ago. It was starting to have a little leak that they had missed around the chimney, which wasn't unusual. They fixed that and got a couple of cords of wood in, got a new dishwasher put in, changed a bunch of things around so the place is ready for winter, for ski season. And hopefully the kids and grandkids will be up there this winter. All right. That's what's going on here. Have a great weekend and see you all next week. We're working on a few videos and I think you're going to enjoy them. All right. Bye-bye.